welcome to another Intimate Conversations with me, MJ, where I talk about all the TV shows and movies that I thought was really good or at least interesting to talk about. And just before we get into it today, if you like, it would be great if you can hit that subscribe button or at least press that like button down below. I would really like it if we reached 5 likes in this video. And yes, the audio in my last video was a bit gray, so hopefully in this one is good because I'm not even plugged into this mic, but I'm using it anyways, so don't worry about that. I'm fixing it for the next video. But yeah, there have been a lot of TV shows and movies that I have watched over the last 2 weeks, and there are a couple that I think are there are a couple that I do think that are a bit noteworthy. So the first is Snowfall. Snowfall is an amazing TV show. I know it's highly rated, but I started to watch the first episode of the 6th season, and I saw a little Black girl crying over her dead Black father on the ground. So here's the thing. I think as a society, we are tired. And I'm not even speaking for the entire Black race, obviously, but I think, aren't we tired of seeing Black bodies dead? Aren't we tired of, glamorizing Black trauma? Aren't we tired of monetizing the insecurities and the flaws of Black people in the way we don't for people who are not minorities? Look, I think we need to stop doing these type of dramas in a way where it's not nuanced. And I heard that this TV show is good because it's a little bit nuanced, but honestly, I'm tired of hearing Black communities and families fighting over drugs and money. I'm like, it's not, I just don't care about that type of storyline, and I just don't think we should be using Black bodies to tell those stories because we've been doing it since the beginning of time. I think we're in a period where we're looking for nuanced new storylines and something that breaks the barrier, that is against and breaks stereotypical norms and caricatures of what we think Black people are. And we're in that space where people are starting to create real nuanced, depth, relatable stories. And yes, this did happen, may not have happened in the past, but why are we talking about it now? Why is there a whole TV show about it? I don't understand. I don't really want to be seeing Black bodies dead on the ground. You know what I mean? I want to hear, how a Black man and his father is taking care of his kid, and how he's in this high paying job, and so the inner workings of a Black family. Like, we need to see more of that in the mainstream. I know Tyler Perry is doing really good at that, but the only reason why I don't watch a lot of Tyler Perry shows and movies, because could be a bit cliche, and a bit too, what's that word, soap opera-y. So it's a little bit of a soap opera, but Tyler Perry has made a living and made a legacy off of that, and amplifying Black voices in a way that does them justice, in most cases. But people think that other Black people do not like the way Tyler Perry has done it, but Tyler Perry has found an audience. And I do think that Tyler Perry is employing and is speaking about and speaking to Black people and Black stories. So I love him for that. So I don't care what anybody says, but I don't know. I think I've watched some of his stuff, but moving back, like, I would really like if there was a whole Black cast for a storyline like it is in Shrinking, the TV show. I really like Shrinking. I really do. And let's talk about it. Shrinking is a TV show on Netflix. Jason Segel is in the show, And it talks about a man who is, tired of the way shrinks and psychiatrists and psychologists talk to their patients in interviews in the life. So I had to really force myself to watch past the first episode, because honestly, the first episode was boring. And here's the thing now, pre-COVID or pre the last 4 to 5 years, you can determine if a TV show or TV or movie is good if you've watched the pilot, aka the first episode. These days, when it comes to TV shows and movies, you don't know when something is good, maybe until you watch the second or third or fourth episode. So they're changing the formula to that, which is interesting, because honestly, if the production company greenlighted the entire, first season of Shrinking based on the first episode. I don't know if they did. I don't know if maybe they just greenlighted the entire season without watching the pilot. I don't know. But the first episode was boring, because I really thought that Jason Segel's character Jimmy would be focusing on a new patient of his and intervening into a new patient of his each and every episode. But that's not what they did, which was good. Okay, because that would have been boring. Instead, they centered and they focused on the characters surrounding Jason Segel's character, Jimmy. So they looked at Jessica Williams' character. Jessica Williams' character, which is Gabby. If you don't know who Jessica Williams is, I freaking love her work. I loved her in Intergalactic. Okay. I loved her in her own TV show that she had in 2017, I believe. So that's her. Love her so much. She is extremely talented person, and that's the reason why I watched this show. It's on Apple TV. Here's the thing with me and Apple TV, and maybe it's just me, but honestly, I do feel like Apple TV does cater to a certain type of people. When you look at the thumbnails, if I go to Apple TV, I feel like Apple TV caters to white, rich elite, white, rich allies, white, rich, woke people. Like, I'm scrolling through and I'm like, that's what I'm gleaming from when I look at and when I see Apple TV for the first time. So Jessica Williams is in a all-white cast, except for, of course, Jason Segel's patient, which I love him too. I love him so much. He's so handsome, actually. He's so handsome. Which I don't know why he's not the first person in this list of cast, but Luke Tenney, who plays Sean, I'm sorry, so handsome. He's in Deadly Class on Netflix, but he must be much older now. And excuse me, I'm happy he booked this role, but again, but here's what I like about this show. I like this show because it doesn't just have Black characters just to have Black characters. Let me say this again. A lot of TV shows and movies, and I think a lot of TV shows are going away from this. They just put a Black character or a racially ambiguous character. Nobody knows what race this woman or man is, just to fill the diversity quota components. And you can't just put, again, this is what I talked about in my last episode of Intimate Conversations. You cannot just put a Black person and not tell their side of view, their point of view, their storyline. What I loved about this TV show is that because we're focusing on Jimmy's life, Jimmy, his late wife, is friends with Gabby, who he eventually has sex with. His patient is Sean. So you see Sean, or, Luke Tenney's character, storyline. You get to see his father and his role, how army is his experience with the army played in his mental and his life. You get to see his brother, you get to see Gabby and her partner and her storyline. You get to see them interacting in this very predominantly white neighborhood, very predominantly white work environment, which honestly I can extremely relate to. I am Gabby in every sense of the word right now in my life, and I can relate to her a lot. So Gabby is such a relatable character, and I'm so happy that they did that. They didn't just put them there just to fill a racial quota. We actually see, you know, Tenny's character's life and his father, and how his father relationship is rocky, and his brother and his army, and how his army has kind of like messed up with his mind. And you get to see Gabby's life, and Gabby's divorcing her partner. And so it's like very relatable, really grounded. They really deal with race in a the way they deal with race is not the best. Gabby, though, does make it an effort to make sure everybody knows that she's a black woman, a very strong black woman, that you are talking to a black woman in certain scenes. So, but the thing is, the show makes you believe that everyone is equal. But the thing is, in reality, in the world, black people are not treated as such. So, but they don't really touch about that, and they don't touch about race. They really talk about their intimate relationships with each other, which is fine. I love the banter. I love that Harrison Ford is in this. Harrison Ford, who is Indiana Jones, he's in this. I love that for him. I'm sure he's in this because it's Apple TV. Like, I don't think he'll be on any other platform. I know probably his new movie might be on Netflix. Because he is coming out with a new Indiana Jones installment, so I'm excited to watch that. But I don't. Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised that I liked it. I did binge the entire 8 episodes. I don't know if I'll continue to watch it because there are a lot of things coming out. But the banter between each character is really interesting. The banters between each character, Harrison Ford and Jason's character, Harrison Ford and Lokita Maxwell. I love Lokita Maxwell in this. I think Lokita Maxwell has an amazing career ahead of her. I really do think that she's an amazing person to play Jason Segel's character's daughter in this. So her relationship with Harrison is really, really cool and unique. Again, the banter is more interesting than the actual characters. The way the characters are portrayed is more interesting than their personalities themselves. So they touch upon race a little bit. They touch upon race, honestly, in a relatable way, that kind of how people touch upon race right now anyways. And they try to make sure that we know that, yes, Gabby is black. Gabby's a black woman, and we know this. But it doesn't go beyond that. So yeah, I like it. It's good. The next movie, which is going to be interesting. Let me just situate myself here. Guys, let me just say, this movie, oh boy. I swear, I want to know who wrote this movie, because it is giving all sorts of cringe. So when I saw the thumbnail in this, I'm like, okay, I need to watch this movie. This movie seems interesting. Looks kind of interesting, kind of new. Really good thumbnail. After the first week, though, of showing this thumbnail, though, I couldn't find this movie to save my life. I forgot to save the name on my phone, so I couldn't find this movie on Netflix to save my life. I had to literally Google what are the new horror thriller movies right now on Netflix, and then The Strays came out. It's a shit show. I don't I don't know where to begin. Okay? I'm gonna read the Google synopsis, because it's a better way of starting But it's a good way to start. It's a good point to start. A light-skinned black woman's meticulously crafted life of privilege starts to unravel when two strangers show up in her quaint suburban town. So the black woman that I'm talking about is that girl, is Ashley. Ashley Madikwe is played by Neve Cheryl. Okay. So Ashley actually grew up, I'm guessing, in these apartments where she was poverty stricken and dealing with racial tensions, and she was dealing with abuse from her partner. And she had these two beautiful black kids with this guy. And I don't know what made her to leave. I guess everything ended up being too much for her, so she left. She left and she moved away without her kids. Didn't tell her kids that she was leaving. Just dropped everything and the movie fast forwards to 17, 18 years where she marries a white guy and has two biracial children. She's biracial herself. You're starting to wonder how in the world is this even happening. I mean, it's been 17, 18 years later. The kids are in high school. She has two kids. You're like, okay, where are the other two black kids? What happened to that? Oh boy. So the whole movie is about how the woman it is either try to suppress her blackness, or number two, trying to expel her blackness from her life. And her kids are showing signs of trying to get in touch with their black selves. And her white husband loves the fact that she is black. I'm not sure if it's a fetish thing. I'm not sure if he's genuinely just loves her. But you can tell that the husband loves who Cheryl or Neve's are. So Neve is the original woman's name, and then she changed her name to Cheryl when she married this white man, and had two biracial children. Throughout the movie, you see her scratching her wig. She's wearing wigs. You see her being haunted by her grown-up children. They're now grown up now, but she's not seeing things. At the end, you'll see that the children actually found her 17, 18 years later, and is now trying to figure out, how do I get in? Like, what the frick happened? Why did you leave? And how I want to connect with you. You're my mom. It's not scary. It's not, it's more, it is a bit of a thrill. It's not even a thriller. It's actually capital cringe, because as her, like, she uses wigs to hide her black identity. She uses wigs as a symbol of a way of people trying to suppress their natural hair. I get that, but the movie or the creators use wigs as a way of it's a bad thing. Black women, or a lot of black women, love using wigs as a way to interchange their hairstyle. I love wigs. She used these three wigs to interchange her hair, and she scratches because she thinks she's seeing things, and she's starting to unravel her blackness. She starts beating her child when her child, lies to her. She yells at her children, at her daughter, when her daughter puts on cornrows on her head for the first time. So it all comes to a head at the end when the children that she left, the two very black, dark-skinned kids, come and find her and her new white man and the two biracial, because she's been trying to act white, basically. And you see her yelling at her two grown black kids and telling, "Oh, why are you here? Why did you find me?" It's ew. Like, I don't know how to explain this, because it's like Get Out, but in the opposite direction. In Get Out, you have the black man coming to a white woman's house, and she attacks him because he's black. But you have a biracial woman being attacked by her two grown dark-skinned children because she's suppressing her blackness and pretending to be white, basically. And I'm like, what is this movie? Like, what is the intention? Because at the end, the woman realizes that she can't buy her two dark-skinned children out. So, because now she's rich with this new white man, the two previous children kills her white husband, and then she realizes, okay, I'm gonna die, or I don't know. So she ends up abandoning all four of them. Their two kids, the two biracial kids with the white husband, and then her two dark-skinned kids from her first husband. And then the movie ends. What is the intention here? What are you trying to say? At least in Get Out, though, what is the message here? I get it. There are some black women who do this, because they want to fit in. They don't want to be attributed to the struggles and the plight of black people, especially when you have black people who are white passing. There's a whole Netflix movie about it. But this movie was done in extremely poor taste. And let me just say, it got 56% on Rotten Tomatoes. I just want to read some of the reviews because, I don't get it. It doesn't feel scary. It was an incomplete experience for me. Yeah, one saying it's an incomplete experience. It's like trauma as a black person watching this. What is the point of this movie? So that's what I watched. Okay, so that's it. Hope you guys liked this on Intimate Conversations episode 2. And make sure to leave those 5 likes and subscribe if you like. And I'll see you guys hopefully in 2 weeks or in a week. We'll see. But this was fun. I loved this. Thank you guys. And I'll see you guys soon. Yeah, and that Strays movie is scary. It's scary that it exists.